Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And, yeah, this route, believe it or not, is a route that's making its debut on this channel. That is despite the fact that we have done this run in either direction several times before. In fact, you could even say that, in a manner of speaking, the loco is making its debut as well. So yeah, let's explain what the hell is going on, because we are doing Edinburgh Waverley to Glasgow Queen Street, and yeah, as I'm sure you are well aware, we've done that route a few times in the past, but not with this route. This is the Edinburgh to Glasgow electrified route, which is a steam workshop route. The Edinburgh to Glasgow route is fully electrified. The electrification was finished in 2019, but of course it wasn't electrified when this route was first added to the game. So the official Edinburgh to Glasgow route DLC from DTG is not electrified. And yet the route that they brought out later on, the Glasgow to Dunblane and Alloa, that uses quite a fair chunk of this route, and in that one it is fully electrified, which it was when that one was released. So anyway, yeah, someone at the workshop there has released this updated version of the Edinburgh to Glasgow line with full electrification. So that's the routes that we are using. We're gonna, like I say, we're doing the full length thing, starting at Edinburgh Waverley, finishing at Edinburgh Queen Street. We're going to treat this as an express run, so the only stop will be at Falkirk High. Yeah. And as for our train, well, it's one that certainly never ran on this line. It is the Class 90. Now, the Class 90 has appeared on this channel before, but it was a video request from Jim Plays, and it was my one and only so far attempt at actually doing a route without the HUD. So yes, the Class 90 appeared, but it wasn't like one of these standard sort of runs. It was very different to normal. So this is the first time that the 90 is actually doing a regular sort of run. So it's your typical Class 90 loadout, or at least typical from the days when the Class 90 was doing, you know, its high-speed intercity runs. So there are 9 Mark III carriages. There is the Mark III DVT at the rear, and yeah, the Class 90, which is pulling the whole thing. As far as the specifics, it's spring, it's cloudy, and it's 11:30 AM. Yeah. So let's get this up and running. And here we are. Now you can see we are quite some way beyond, well, our locomotive is anyway, some way beyond the platforms. with 9 carriages, the DVT and the loco itself. Yeah, it's 11 carriages long. But, well, hopefully the passengers will still be able to get on. Doesn't look like the doors are opening though. I have a horrible feeling it's because, yeah, I've got to do some of this setup first before we actually get underway. So, right, master key in. So, right, the initial setup is certainly underway. Let's get the lights on. We want instrument lights on. Don't really need the cab lights. So ETS and headlights still to do. Well, the ETS is over here, so get that on. So now the carriages have yeah, heat and light. So now let's see if the doors will open. No, it doesn't look like they are. So our lights are on. Yeah, doors still very much trying to see which key it is that will open the doors. Not having any success, so yeah, we'll leave that. Maybe they'll open once we are in, you know, the likes of Falkirk or Glasgow. Okay, before we get underway, let's set the speed set. So we have 20 mph limit as we start. So yeah, we are all good. Right, can't see the passenger view. So here we are all set. Take one last look here at Edinburgh Waverley. We can see quite clearly, fully electrified. Let's get underway. That has not moved us into forward. Okay, now we can get underway. Here we go. So with the speed set set, we don't have to worry about speeding, even though we've got it into 100% throttle. So Glasgow Queen Street is just over 47.5 miles. Yeah, unfortunately I don't have the means to shut that thing off. So the speed set is rather conservative actually. It's very, very slow accelerating, and we're still, well, it was starting to be very, very slow accelerating, and we were still only just going into 19 mph. So we are entering the 35 zone, but we've got bit of a wait before we are actually in there because of the length of this train. So in fact we are entering the 40 mph zone. We still haven't even entered the 35 yet. Okay, so we are in the 35 now. Now we're in the 40. And once we pass Haymarket, we're entering a 90 zone, and that's when we can really get some speed up. So as I said during the intro, the Class 90 never came anywhere near this line. It was basically used to do intercity runs between London and Norwich. It's long since been replaced, but the 90 now is used quite often in freight services. Here we are going through Edinburgh Haymarket. So now we are in the 90 zone. Yeah, speed set. I'm not sure top speed of this thing ever was 125. I think top speed might have been 110, which is still, you know, certainly fast enough for you know, London and Norwich runs. So yeah, as we pass Murrayfield rugby ground. Now obviously the Class 90 did need a few modifications done to it prior to its sort of rebirth as a freight loco. It had been geared towards you know, sheer speed, so they've lowered the gear ratios, so it has lost some of its top speed nowadays. But a lot of the engine power is now, yeah, towards being able to pull a properly hefty amount of freight behind it. So we're now in the 90 zone. Sorry, we're in the 100 zone. So Edinburgh Park is coming up. I have a feeling that's a station that had not, or was not on the original version of this line. I certainly don't recognise the name. Here is said Edinburgh Park station. It's not a particularly major one, considering it's well, it must be considered major by some, so if it's going to actually have the Edinburgh name there, but yeah, there was nothing particularly memorable about the place. So as with all the other routes that I get, or that I use, that are freeware, I will put a link in the description to this one. Obviously you will need the original Edinburgh to Glasgow route DLC. I don't think you need anything else. I mean, I'm not certain of that, but I don't think you do. So we have a speed decrease coming up down to 90. Bathgate Junction. So I lowered that speed, yeah, through the speed set, which you're not really supposed to do, but it did a decent enough job of it. In fact, we are well below 90. Pretty hefty viaduct. Now we have another speed reduction coming up down to 80 in a mile and a half. So I pressed that and nothing happened. Yeah, if anyone knows the way to disable the DVD on the Class 90, I'm all ears. Well, we have a speed increase coming up fairly soon, entering a 100 mph zone. We're entering it now. We just need the rest of the train to get in there. There we go. Not a particularly great view there. And maybe now that we don't have the steep embankment, although, well, it seems to be coming back. Looks like we're only getting the overhead view, or at least at the moment. We'll see what the next one's like. There we go. That's the view we want. So we did get the trackside view that we were after. Yeah, we don't get passenger view, I'm afraid. Clicking away, nothing. Into some very open countryside here. And next station, Linlithgow. Do have a speed reduction once we are through that station down to 90. Let's lower it to that now. So yeah, this is Linlithgow station. We are now entering another 100 zone, which we are now in. But it is quite a small one. We're certainly not going to reach 100 by the time we hit that max speed reduction back down to 90. Let's reduce it now. Pullman station is about 1.5 miles along the along the line. There we are, we're into the 90 zone again. Again, it's relatively short once we are through Polmont Station. Very close to being able to go back up to 100. Well, I don't think it's worth setting the speed set to 100 because yeah, it's being reduced again to 95. So yeah, we will just set it to 95. So Falkirk High station is coming up. Well, we will be in a 100 zone when we pull out of there, so I'll set the speed set to 100. Let's start getting our speed down. I think we certainly needs to come down faster than it is. A lot faster than it is. It looks like Falkirk Station starts more or less as soon as we come out of this tunnel. Well, I did say more or less. There's no way we're getting the whole train on the station, but as long as we can get the carriages, that will be fine. Okay, first carriage might not do it. And the last carriage certainly hasn't. There we go, so yeah, some of the doors are open, so yeah, some people are able to get on and off here. So anyway, this is Falkirk High station. Yeah. Rear carriage is definitely nowhere near it, let alone the DVT. Alright, doors are all shut. Of course that thing was going off. Right, speed set is set to 100. Oh, right, yeah, I didn't have the, so it must have, yeah, obviously I didn't reset that bloody DVD in time. Anyway, we're off and running now. Waiting for that bloody DVD alarm to go off, and then I can do some exterior shots. There we go. Right. very much the open country again. Let's see if our second angle will get us the trackside view again. No. Give it one more go. There we are. That's what we wanted. In fact, we were about to get a second one, but yeah. Croy Station is next. Yeah, there we are at Croy Station. Sounds like there's fireworks going off. It's now November the 18th, for crying out loud. So Glasgow Queen Street is now well into just single figures in terms of how many miles away. So Lindsay is the next station, which will just be shooting right through. So yeah, here we are at the Lindsay station. Rather forgettable. So I think the next station is Bishop Breeks, and then it's yeah, Glasgow Queen Street itself. Yep, Bishop Breeks. We have a max speed decrease down to 85 once we have got through there. We are well below 85 now. And then we have a further decrease right down to 50. So that's, yeah, the alert telling us about the 80, about the 50 actually. So we'll set that. Go through Bishop Breeks. So we certainly braked far too early. Well, I set the speed set far too early. It's still like half a mile away. Now we'll see how well the speed set deals with that incline that's coming up. Cowlairs incline takes us into Queen Street station. That is quite a steep downward gradient. Speed set down to 40. Then we have a further reduction down to 30 while we are on that incline. So this is where we'll see just how good these brakes are. It looks like, oh yeah, braking has started. It's not doing very well. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. so braking at step 1, we continue gaining speed. So double yellow here, which is fine, that's what we are expecting. Set the speed set to 15. I think because the throttle is at 0, speed set's not really doing very much. Okay, so we are fine as far as that speed is. Yeah, because this 1 in 50 gradient, we pick up speed at a hell of a rate. Yeah, no longer need to brake. Well, that's as much as we can get really on this platform. So yeah, there we are. I mean, that is us at Glasgow Queen Street, but I mean, you can clearly see barely half the train is actually on the platform. Alright, we could have got maybe another half a carriage in that gap there, but yeah, there was no way we were getting the whole thing in. So there we are. That was Edinburgh Waverley to Glasgow Queen Street. One speeding error, and that was, yeah, trying out the speed set on that really steep gradient as we entered Glasgow Queen Street. I did have a feeling it would fail, and yeah, it did. But other than that, it did really well. Yeah, it's a properly decent train. Like I said in the intro, it was never intended to do this route, and well, you could clearly see that was the case. It was far too big for both terminuses. The route itself, yeah, I mean, we know that the Glasgow to Edinburgh, or Edinburgh to Glasgow route is a great one. The fact that it's now electrified, it just adds to it. But it doesn't add so much to it that I will always use this one. I'll only use the electrified if I am going to actually be driving an electric loco or an electric emu on this route. Otherwise, I will stick with the original. There's no real sort of like logical reason as to why. I just will. So there we go, good stuff. So that brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.